Today I fucked up and just got paid $0. The company I work for was recently acquired and I now have a new employer. So just as with any acquisition, I went through the motions by filling out all of the paperwork, insurance, taxes, benefits, etc. Fast forward to today, the first payday with the new company, I find out my net pay was $0 and frantically checked my pay stub, thinking there must have been some mistake. After closer inspection, I found there was a big deduction taking a huge chunk away toward my 401k. I manically checked my company's HR portal, only to finally realize my colossal fuck up. When filing my 401k contribution they were taking it out as a percentage, and I stupidly thought they were asking for a dollar amount and calculated what I needed to max out the employer match. Came out to be $87.50, but instead of a deduction of $87.50, they were deducting 87.50%. So after that huge deduction, taxes, and insurance, I ended up with a net pay of $0. I'm currently scrambling with HR to fix my fuck up. Too long didn't read. I'm an idiot and accidentally opted for my employer to deduct 87.50% of my paycheck to my 401k when I wanted them to deduct $87.50. Update: wow, this blew up. I wrote this during lunch break and just got off. It had like 10 upvotes back then. Lamau, I guess I gotta do the cliche Reddit thing, thanks for the awards kind strangers. Unfortunately, the HR lady was out today and hasn't responded to my emails. Frown. On my company portal, I read that changes to the 401k deduction amount don't take effect until the next quarter, so July 1st, but if I elect to change the 401k contribution to 0%, it takes effect next pay period. Which is what I did, so I should be good in another 2 weeks. I'd like to get the money out of the 401k and into my bank account, but it isn't the biggest deal if it stays there. I am young and don't have the biggest expenses, so it's not the end of the world if I miss a paycheck. Worst comes to worst, I miss out on some free company match money until July when I can get it back to a realistic deduction. Lol. I mostly wanted the check to open a position on Ethereum. You'll see it hit 2.5k. I wish I had bought some earlier, man. Once had a member of a club pay for a 1-year membership. Instead of putting one in number of years, he put 2019 and was charged over $10k. Funny thing, he had to authorize the payment from his PP account. Obviously he got a refund. I would hope I'd notice that amount coming out of my PP. I work at a little boutique. We have to charge people for bags, 0.25 per bag. 3 years ago, an employee rang up a customer and put them in as having purchased 8,000 bags. That's $2,000. Neither customer nor employee noticed. The manager did. He tried contacting the customer so they could get a refund. Customer never responded to calls, emails, or texts. We still have the copy of the receipt sitting by the computer, hoping that someday the customer will come in. They're probably a millionaire. Lol. When I started a new job, someone entered my annual salary as $38.75. I got paid 50 cents on my first check. Our normal weekly full-time schedule is 38.75 hours. Payroll wanted to wait until the next check to make it right. My boss went through the roof and had an actual check in my hand by the next day. Gotta like a boss that is willing to go to bat for you. In high school I worked the register at a Stop and Shop. Only worked like 4 hours one week and my union dues and taxes equaled my pay and I got disbursed a check for $0. I thought it was pretty amazing and framed it. Don't know what became of it though. I always fear that I would accidentally commit a tax fraud cause I'm too dumb to properly fill out a form. Today I fucked up like these are one of my greatest fear. Fraud needs to be intentional. People make mistakes all the time. If you did it intentionally to try avoiding taxes, that's fraud. It's not as scary as you think it is if you are an honest citizen. Today I fucked up and showed my mom my orange penis in fear I had an STI. This is a very old story. Essentially, when I was a younger teen I started getting into the masturbating scene. I didn't like doing it dry, so I'd use whatever creams I could find in the house. Now when I was younger my schooling system was not adequate in the sex ed department, so I had no idea what a STD was and if I needed to have sex to get one. Anyways, as I'm starting to pull my turkey a few times a week now, using the cream I found in the bathroom. It was in an orange bottle that said moisturizer. The next day I realize my dick is orange/brown. And I'm nervous I messed up my dick or gave myself an STD. So I'm out delivering my newspapers and all I can think about is my discolored piece. And I tell my mom, I think I have an STD because I've been watching porn and now my dick looks really weird. I'm ashamed. I ask her if she can take a look. My mother reluctantly agrees. So we're in the bathroom, and I pull my pants down and show her, and as I'm saying see with my hands emphasizing the area with my palm facing outward, I realize my one hand is darker than the other. I realize my mistake and pull my pants up in total shock and embarrassment, and my mother starts to realize too what I did. I ended up self-tanning my penis. Too long didn't read. As a young teen I thought I had an STD because my dick turned a different color after masturbating. I showed my mom and then realized by the color of one of my palms that I self-tanned my penis. I love that you used the term masturbating scene as if there's a culture and community built around dudes beating their meat together. We meet every Wednesday. Masturbating scene, ha ha ha. I keep imagining his friends all sitting around pressuring him into joining the masturbation scene, lol. I've heard of tanning your hide and now hiding your tan. You have a ginger grip. There was a young man from Istanbul who discovered red spots on his tool. Said his doctor, a cynic, "Get out of my clinic and wipe off the lipstick, you fool." Today I fucked up by turning the men's room into a murder scene. Obligatory, happened a couple days ago. I work as a cashier in a grocery store and it really gets hectic sometimes, to a point where during a 12-hour shift we get a 15 minutes lunch break instead of an hour at least, or don't even get bathroom breaks as often as we need. I'd been joking for a while now that if I was a guy I would have been pissing in a bottle already. So as we ladies already know, periods are the worst, and I'll tell you what, they're even worse when you have a job like this. So because of the few breaks I get, I've noticed pads are not the way to go, even if more practical, let's say, when it comes to changing it fast. Therefore my menstrual cup got called into service again. All is going well, I'm working my ass off as always, dealing with anti-muskers, people yelling at me for me not being able to scan a barcode because some dumbass ripped it off or something, etc etc, you name it. Then nature calls. I close my till, waddle to the men's room as the ladies is taken, yes, we do that too here, and go on with my business, which is emptying my cup and rinsing it in the sink. Obviously, there's still some blood left in there after emptying, but that's fine, the water will get it. All of a sudden, there's blood all over the walls. I'm standing there shocked, trying to understand what happened in that short second between touching the faucet and standing in the middle of a murder scene all of a sudden. As I hear my colleagues calling me back into work to serve someone who doesn't understand that people have basic biological needs and can't allow 5 minutes for them to go to the restroom and back, I realize I really underestimated the water pressure. Now, I knew the faucet in the men's room was tricky, but it somehow slipped my mind that if I opened it all the way it'd spray the water as hard as some guy spraying down the pavement in a satisfying power washing compilation on Facebook. Ignoring my co-workers' calls, I continued on wiping the walls using up half the roll of one-ply toilet paper and praying to God and everything that's holy that I got no blood on myself, as the men's room does not have a mirror. I haven't received any complaints from my co-workers yet, so I assume I wiped everything down pretty well. My shift ended yesterday and I sure as hell will drink to that. Too long didn't read. I wildly underestimated the water pressure in the men's room and turned it into a murder scene while trying to clean my menstrual cup. Edit, thanks to everyone being so understanding and supportive. I am aware of the issue about how little breaks we get here, just haven't came around to addressing it properly yet. I will definitely try to, though. Also, to the ones saying it's gross, well, thanks for your input, and I thought you should know menstrual cups are a more sanitary, environment and body-friendly option than any other female hygiene products I've come across so far. Edit near 2, since I feel like I'm just not gonna hear the end of this. To all the guys saying this is foul or unsanitary, wipe the damn seat after yourselves and stop acting like periods are filthy and the whole place needs to be sprayed down with all the bleach in the world now. We have people responsible who disinfect all areas either way, and please forgive every female on earth who menstruates for not carrying a bottle of bleach with them everywhere just in case. This is a today I fucked up, not mansplain to me how dirty my periods are. Interesting story. As a guy, I don't know a great deal about all the different types of sanitary products, so I had never heard of a cup before. I had to ask the missus and she told me what it was. I had strange thoughts in my head about some type of plastic banana-shaped thing that went where a pad would go, but was confused over how that would work. I was wrong, lol. Thanks for teaching me something new. Pretty sure this would never have came up in normal conversation. I'm so glad to read this. Instead of finding it disgusting or saying something like, oh sorry, bodies can be gross sometimes. You found it educating and interesting enough to find out a bit more. Thanks for this, honestly. Since we're all handing out legal advice here, my advice is to never take legal advice from someone who doesn't understand the limited reach of the laws they know. If you don't know where someone lives, you don't know which laws apply. I'm gonna have my attorney advise me on how to respond to this. I did this once in a fancy hotel with a relatively new boyfriend, 5 minutes before we were due to check out. Never underestimate the power of the tap. If it's any consolation, this is by far the least disgusting thing I've seen from my time working gas stations when I was younger. Blood on the walls was fairly common, as was crap. The amount of feminine hygiene products that somehow managed to not get to the bin was also alarming. Then there was the time someone put both blood and shit on the stall walls, toilet, and floor, and also managed to get their tampon to stick to the wall for good measure. I wouldn't feel too embarrassed if I were you. I once had an epically bad bloody nose, so I had to run to the bathroom, dripping blood all the way to it. Whilst in the bathroom, I learned the hard way that you should never attempt to blow your nose while having a bloody nose. Went all over the mirrors, sinks and countertops.